What's going on, guys? Welcome back to Nolan TCG, and we are back here today for another deck profile, and this time it's for Prank Kids. So we did see a hit to this deck on the ban list. Unfortunately, it happened. You could see it coming if you look at previous trends, I guess, that deck does good, deck gets hit immediately after. That did mean that our Meow Meow went to 1. It's not gonna kill the deck by all means. Like I did say prior to it going to 1, that if it goes to go to 1, it doesn't completely nuke the deck. It just changes essentially your follow-up turn. So like your turn 3 all of a sudden is a whole lot different to what your turn 3 used to look like, given the fact that you can no longer just go into another Meow Meow and do your whole combo all over again. You need to be a bit more cautious of your resources when you're playing, and overall really it just takes a few more brain cells. Before we get started on this one though, we do have a bit of a little letter that we got. So we did do a Starlight live stream a few weeks ago. So we got this letter from the Starlight Foundation just thanking us for our efforts. So everyone who contributed on that and essentially donated to the stream, all the funds went to there. So big thank you to you guys who stepped up and did that. You'll see in the community tab I would have posted yesterday a picture of the letter and everything. However, they did send us one copy of Pokemon Battle Styles. I guess we're going to open that before the deck profile. You can skip ahead if you like, but we're going to, we'll see what comes out of this. I wanted to open this on a video. I have no idea how to properly open Pokemon packs. It's been a while. So we go, that spoils whether or not we got something good or we got something bad, so we don't flip that over. There's the code if you want the code, by the way. I'll put that up. So if you play Pokemon, there you go. There's a code for you. If you got it, comment down below. So we got Electabuzz, a Voltoy, a Gligar, one Rapid Strike, Scroll Switch, and we did not get a foil. Oh well. So big thank you to everyone who donated for the Starlight stream. Hit that subscribe button if you are new here, because we're always happy to have new people on the channel. Make sure to drop that before the video starts. And let's get into the deck profile. Before we do get started on this one though, it is brought to you of course by yourplaymat.com, who got us our beautiful Nolan TCG extra deck sleeves. These are available on yourplaymat.com, as well as you can get custom sleeves and custom playmats, so whatever you need for the current format. There is an affiliate link in the description down below that does get you a little bit of a discount on your order. Also, enter the code Nolan10YP for 10% off your order. Also kicks back a little bit to the channel, so everything will be very much appreciated. If you're shopping there, you're getting custom sleeves, custom playmats down. Make sure to enter our code at checkout. But let's get on into this deck profile. Okay, so starting us off for the deck profile, of course, we do have our Prank Kids line, and that does still involve pretty much everything. It is 3 copies of Prank Kids Fansies, 3 copies of Prank Kids Dropsies, and 3 copies of Prank Kids Lampsies. I am still a very big fan of, you will see later in the deck, I do play Plan, sending the Plan off the Fansies to give you that extra recursion. That does now also give you the option to shuffle back your Meow Meow if you do need to. Say your opponent bricks. You go down your standard lines and they just can't really do anything. Say they maybe try and like cheese an attack or something. You just plan back your Meow Meow if you want to. You can always pranks it as well, but that pranks is a little bit more risky. You don't really mind if it gets if it gets banished. Something I did consider though was upping my Roxy's count to 2. Ultimately, I've still decided just to go with 1 copy of Lampsy. So 2 copies of Roxy's. It's just not that important in the deck. Given that we are playing more poly lines, I definitely considered playing it at 2. But overall, our card can just... sorry, I did consider playing it at 3. I'm a bit back to front here. But yeah, 2 copies of Roxy's is what I went with, simply because it does require the other resource out of your hand. Then after that, we've got 2 copies of Parallel Exceed. Again, it's just a chain blocker that you can kind of cheese out and play around with. Then we've got our next card. It is Dragoon package, because we have decided to play Dragoon, given that we have all that space in the extra deck now. It is 2 copies of, not 2 copies of Dark Magician, 1 copy of Red Eyes and 1 copy of Dark Magician. And then for the last of our monster lineup, we are still playing 3 copies of Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring as our hand trap of choice. Feel free to change that if you wish to change that. Okay, now we have our spell lineup. Our spell lineup does, of course, still involve 3 copies of Prank Kids Place, followed up with 1 copy of Terraforming. It is effectively just all your Prank Kids monsters. Also helps you chain block when you're going second. So overall, the best card to kind of play around with, given that it's all Prank Kids names and it allows that chain block as well. The Terraforming is the 41st card in this list. If you do want to cut it down to 40, you can probably find a pretty easy way to cut it as we get further into the list. However, given that we were playing the Dragoon line, I didn't mind going over 40, given that it does reduce our chances of drawing Dark Magician or Red Eyes, whilst increasing our chances of drawing a Prank Kid. Then we get into our Prankid spells and traps. This does still involve 3 copies of Prankid's Pandemonium, clearly. It is the best way to fusion summon in the deck, so you want to be playing it at 3 of it. It's searchable. You could consider messing with the ratios and increasing your poly count if you did want to go with that. We are playing poly in this build, given that we don't have the multiple accesses to Meow Meow anymore. We do want to be able to have that fusion summon on the second turn if we need to. So that is something you can consider, cutting this down to increase your poly, given that poly doesn't lock you into Prankids. And then, lastly, 1 copy of Prankid's Pranks for the last of our Prankid spells. Just shuffles the 3 back. You can get the token. Generally just gives you recursion. Then I did mention it before, but we are now playing 2 copies of Polymerization in our build, just to help with some bricky situations. We do want to try and generate a fusion monster on that turn 3 now, early, which is why the Polymerization will need to come up. Then we do still play 2 other fusion spells, 1 copy of Thunder Dragon Fusion, and 1 copy of Red Eyes Fusion. Both of these are just options you can send off your Verte, and if you hard open the Thunder Dragon Fusion, you can produce some pretty nutty boards depending on what else you've got available in your hand. Then we go into the rest of our spell cards. For our Power 1-ofs, we have 1 copy of Called by the Grave, again for a chain blocking, 1 copy of Monster Reborn for Reborn, and 1 copy of Instant Fusion for that same extension plays that we have before. Then for our last of our spells, this is another card you can switch for anything, but it is 3 copies of Forbidden Droplets. Given that we are playing the Monster Reborn and we are playing the Instant Fusion, it's okay to discard some Prankid's monsters from now and then, just to give you that added bit of extension on the follow-up anyway. And then we do get into a trap line. It is still a pretty thick trap line, given that we are playing the There Can Be Only One. Spoiler alert, that's what comes next. We are playing 2 copies of Plan. I do want to always have access to 1 copy of Plan in the graveyard and 1 copy on field. It's just the way I kind of tend to play the deck. I just feel it makes you a lot more dangerous in the kind of different decks that you can beat. And then, of course, we have the 3 copies of There Can Be Only One. All of a sudden, it's not terrible to have 1 copy of, I've completely struck a blank. Roxy's as your 1 extension on the next follow-up turn, because guess what? You don't have a second Meow Meow to go into anymore. So There Can Be Only One's not going to lock you out from going Roxy's into something else. However, it is going to stop you from going with your Fansies from going into a Doo-Doodle-Doo, or your Lamsies from going into a Bow Wow Bark. So that is something you will need to consider. Okay, now we get into our extra deck. This is ultimately where the deck has changed the most. It does... Realistically, it's not that big of a change. It is much more dependent on your playstyle and how good you are, essentially, at playing Prankids now. You can't just, be like, yeah, cool, Meow Meow, full combo again, and then win. Because that was way too easy. So we do, of course, start our extra deck with 1 copy of Prankids Meow Meow, followed up with now 3 copies of Prankids Doo-Doodle-Doo. You want to have access to the link to at all times. In some opening combos, you can burn them all, and if you don't have a way to recur, you will now just pretty much run out of resources, given you don't have that extra copy of Prankids Meow Meow to keep you going. So you will need to play a total of 4 Link 2s, whether that's 2 Doodle-Doo, 2 Bow Wow, or 3 Doodle-Doo, 1 Bow Wow. Given that there is so much space in the deck, you can literally just replace the 2 copies of Meow Meow in whatever your build is with 2 copies of Doo-Doodle-Doo and 3 copies of Bow Wow, or vice versa. They are just essentially a whole lot more important. And then, I did mention it before, but we are playing just 1 copy of Bow Wow Bark still. You tend to just churn through this in your opening combo. Then, lastly, 1 copy of Rip Roaring Rooster. We are playing the Plan, and we do want to not lose to back row decks, so we are playing the 1 copy of the Rip Roaring Rooster. Then for our next line, we do have the 1 copy of Verte Anaconda. Gets us through to our Dragoon, of course. You can also use it for the Thunder Dragon Fusion. Do remember as well that Thunder Dragon Fusion can search you a Fansies on the turn that it isn't activated, so that's always good. And then we do play our access code line now still. So we are up to 1 copy of Unicorn and 1 copy of access code, just for breaking boards and really ensuring that you end the game when you need to end the game. It is ultimately the best way to go. Then we go into our fusion spells, fusion line, sorry. So we've got now 1 copy of Rocket Ride, 1 copy of Weather Washer, and 1 copy of Battle Butler. I would consider playing an extra copy of Rocket Ride in future when we do get access to Crossout Designator. It releases tomorrow, actually, from when this list is going up. I should have mine either the Friday or the next week. Hopefully, this deck will change again. I'll do another profile. Of course, it will change again. We're probably going to cut the Dragoon line and then mess around a bit more with the things that Crossout can interfere with, and just dedicate into getting into that grind game again with Prankids, because Crossout will allow you to facilitate... I'll allow you to stop off a whole lot more hand traps in, and it's going to be good times, good times. And then lastly, the last fusion, 1 copy of Dark Dragoon, of course, because we are playing the Dragoon line. Then for our XCs, we are still playing the same 2 that you always will. and that is 1 copy of Totally Awesome and 1 copy of Abyss Dweller. Pretty straightforward as to why you're playing these. But that wraps up here for the deck profile for this one. As always, if you do have any recommendations, please do remember to comment them down below on things that we should change. I am going to change this list again when we do get Crossout, so I will probably upload another list in about a month or so. We'll just give it a little bit of space so we're not like doing one Prank Kids list straight after another. I was going to hold off a little bit for Crossouts to come in the mail, but ultimately I just wanted to get out a fresh list for the new format, just to... If you're not playing Crossout or you're not going to get access to Crossout, I know in North America it's going to be a little bit difficult given that there is that waived kind of release. This can just be the list you play in the meantime. Honestly, I really enjoy the list. I think it's great. Ultimately, it's not as good as what the 45 card build I was playing with that messed around with like just being able to just go full all out. That was a great list. But yeah, it's ultimately still solid, still solid. But as always, I've been Ben from Nolan TCG, and have a good afternoon, everybody.